A huge house sits in a small forest in the middle of a wasteland. A man ignores a no trespassing sign before the huge house. He has not gotten too far yet when he suddenly gets shot. The girl wearing a protective suit from head to toe inspects the bullet wound on the forehead of the man. Daisy is one of the remaining 5 survivors who have not caught the disease spreading around the world. This disease acts like an Alzheimer, making people who caught it forget themselves and everything they know. Along with her older sisters Bee and Evie, who were also wearing protective suits, inspect the deceased man's belongings. Evie sees a picture in the man's pants and walks away. She enters a shed and inspects the photo before hiding it in her boots. Daisy cuts up the man's body for his organs. After they are done with him, they buried him in the ground. Bee walks around looking at the flowers when horrible memories suddenly flash back. The 3 girls head back to the huge house. They enter an isolation tent connected to the main house. Gabe is sitting inside practicing and waiting for them. He is not as sharp as his sisters and shows signs of mental retardation. They close the tent behind them and remove their protective suits. Together, the 4 enter the main house's connecting door. Their mother is waiting inside. She kisses Daisy as the girl happily tells her about what happened earlier. She praises Daisy for keeping the beasts away. Daisy asks whether the beasts are like animals. Her sisters tell her that there are no more animals left. Daisy thinks that the beasts are more intelligent than the animals. She and Gabe play while singing a cynical children's song. There is a severe pandemic wiping humanity. Bee is sitting in the garden, writing when she hears a bell ringing. The 3 girls prepare what they have gathered from the man. They place a lock of hair, organs on top of the man's filthy clothes, and some flowers on a long table inside what seems to be their cathedral. Their mother leads them in prayer at the head of the long table. The 3 girls and Gabe respond. Each of them ties a red string around the lock of hair. They chant that as long as they can remember, they are safe. They pass around the lock of hair for each person to do the ritual. However, Gabe's memory is starting to degenerate. Bee looks at him with concern, while the other look at him warily. The 3 girls sing a song as they bury the remains of the man. When the others are gone, Evie digs up a wooden box hidden in the garden. She puts in the photo she got of the man. That night, their mother and the girls are talking about Gabe. He is upset that Daisy corrected him earlier when he could not remember the chant. Their mother asks Bee to calm him down and Bee left the room. Bee is on patrol duty, looking around the barren wasteland on top of a tree. She spots movement in the brushes, and a man wearing a mask appears. Bee readies her gun and points it at him. The man takes off his mask and instantly falls to the ground. Bee lowers her gun dumbfounded. She drags the man back to the house. Evie sees her and tells her what happened to their mother. They lay the man on the long table. Their mother could not believe what Bee has done. Bee thinks that the man might be a survivor like them. Their mother is strongly against bringing strangers in, and Bee broke their rules. Daisy argues that the man is already sacred since he is already inside their sanctuary, as their rule says. The mother cuts up the man's clothes and sees that the man has a long gashing wound on his thigh. She wants her daughter to learn how to stitch a wound. This convinces her that the man may have a purpose. The girls prepare a hot bath wash and a towel. Their mother shows them how to stitch up a wound. The girls watch intently before having their turns in stitching. Gabe is lying on his bed. His mother indirectly tells him about her struggles during the outbreak and how she survived until this day. As she is telling him her story, she cuffs his foot to the bed frame. The mother found the huge house and made sure that only the people who were not infected can enter the place. She knew that it will be their sanctuary. She tells Gabe that those who could not remember are monsters. This is what she keeps on telling her children to make sure that they are aware of the world they live in and to keep them safe. Gabe knows that the story is about his mother. Meanwhile, Evie is tucking Daisy to sleep. Daisy is excited to see the stranger they took in tomorrow and is hoping that the man wakes up. The next morning, Gabe wakes up and finds that he had wet himself during the night. He begins panicking and struggles violently in bed, trying to break away from his cuff. The stranger wakes up as well and finds himself cuffed on a makeshift bed. He lays his head back down and looks around. He sees Bee sleeping on the floor beside his bed. Evie suddenly arrives and the man quickly pretends to be sleeping. She wakes Bee up and tells her that she needs help with Gabe. The girls help Gabe out of the cuff and take away his bed sheets. Gabe is still clearly upset about it, but Bee patiently assures him. Gabe refuses to clean himself up, so Evie has to help him. Bee and Evie are cleaning up the stranger's wound while Daisy watches them, asking questions excitedly. Bee is left alone cleaning up the man when he wakes up. She quickly puts a distance between them and stands on guard. The man asks her for water. Bee helps him and introduces herself. She interrogates him, but he keeps avoiding her question. Evie returns with water and she is surprised to find the man awake. Gabe and Daisy are up in a tree outside for guard duty. Daisy insists to their mother that she does not need his help and she is old enough to handle it herself. Their mother agrees with her, so she and Gabe leave Daisy to do her duty. Bee and Evie change the man's bandages. He tries asking them questions, but the sisters ignore him, in order not to give too much information. Their mother arrives with Gabe and is immediately stunned when she sees the man awake. She sends Gabe to his room. The 3 of them sit across from the man. Their mother asks him questions about himself and what is happening outside. The man could not tell them much about himself but informs them that he passed by the city in the east and it was chaos. He tells them that he was attacked and that Bee saved him by bringing him in. He asks if they will let him go, but the mother believes that he is dangerous so he will just have to work inside the sanctuary. Evie assures Gabe that their mother will not let the man stay. She shows him the toys he created in the past and the two of them enjoy the day. Night falls and everyone is having their dinner. Gabe looks at the man warily. Bee blindfolds the man and Daisy helps Gabe to approach him. The next morning, Daisy excitedly asks the man all about the animals from the outside, but the man informs her that animals died out in the current condition of the world. Their mother does not like her being friendly with the man. She instructs Daisy and Gabe to put up more signs around their land and to use the bodies of the previous people they eliminated to scare off any trespassers. The man cleans up the greenhouse struggling in his chains. He looks outside and sees his captors doing their chores. He is disturbed seeing Daisy playing picnic with the corpse of the man while Gabe is carrying the chopped limb. Bee suddenly appears and offers him some fresh fruits and vegetables. The man hesitantly takes something from the platter and eats it. He looks at Bee uncomfortable because the way she watches him seems too eager. Daisy hops around the forest in the perimeter of their house as Gabe hangs the limbs they took from the deceased man in long vine. Bee shows the man the things she had created. She offers to teach him how to read. He asks her some questions about their life in the sanctuary. Evie enters the greenhouse to help Bee with the chores. Bee asks her about their other chores and whether she had done them. She realizes that Bee seems like she wanted her to leave. Evie looks between Bee and the man and gets up to leave. Bee and Evie are in Gabe's room putting on new sheets. Evie notices how giddy Bee is becoming towards the man. She tells her that she should not be so trusting. Bee laughs it off and assures Evie that she does not trust him. Bee is sealing the windows in the greenhouse while the man assists her. He notices the paintings on the windows. She tells him that they did those and it is their story. He sees that each person is painted in the windows, but there is also a man who he has not seen anywhere in the sanctuary. The person in the painting is their brother Luca, who had not been with them for a long time. Bee brings the man for dinner and offers him a seat. Their mother tells her that it is Luca's place and that he should sit in a different place. That night, Bee brings him a blanket to keep him warm. Their mother changes his bandages the next day and informs him that he will be healing soon. Daisy tells him excitedly that they can play soon because there are more of them now. The two of them are left in the greenhouse. He tells her about horses and it becomes her favorite. He offers that he can carve her a horse if she just brings him a knife. Evie sings as she and Bee harvest the vegetables. Daisy sneaks in and grabs a small knife when her sisters are not looking and hurriedly goes out. Later that day, Bee is sorting the vegetables they harvested. The man helps her out and tells her that the place seems to be familiar to him. At night, he plays with Daisy as she tells him what happened to Luca. He went away to see if there are more people like them and Daisy believes that he will return to them one day. The man is sitting in the greenhouse, carving a wooden horse for Daisy. Gabe enters and notices that he is holding a knife. He shows it to Gabe and he starts connecting all the pieces. He suddenly gets frustrated when he could not do it properly and starts throwing things around. His sisters hear him yelling from the outside and hurriedly run to the greenhouse. The man did not know what to do. Daisy is the first to arrive but she could not do anything as Gabe starts to become more violent. He throws a pot at Evie and manages to punch Bee down to the ground. The man convinces Daisy to free him so he can help. When he is finally let loose, he tackled Gabe to the ground. Bee and Evie help hold him down. Their mother arrives and calms him down. Bee's cheek starts to bruise from Gabe's punch earlier. She is shaking her face in the mirror and the man jokingly copies her. Bee laughs and accidentally calls him Luca. Both of them are surprised. The man apologetically tells her that he cannot be her brother, especially since he has a romantic desire for her. However, this made Bee even more convinced that he is Luca. There was apparently more going on between her and Luca in the past. The next day, Daisy sings as she and Bee artificially pollinate their garden. The man volunteers to get the seed packet. He enters another part of the greenhouse and sees Evie holding the buried box. She tells him that it was a game they played when Luca was still around, then quickly dismisses his curiosity. The man comes back to Bee and Daisy with the seed packet. He mentions that he saw Evie with the box and says that he remembers a game. Bee is slightly intrigued, thinking that it jogs his memory up. Later that day, the man finds Evie reading. He tries making conversation with her and getting her sympathy. Evie's treatment remains cold. After a few moments, the man gets back down and leaves her be. The girls and their mother gather that night. Daisy wants to hear a story and asks the man to tell them something. Bee mentions that Luca was a great storyteller. Both their mother and Evie look at her confounded. The man tells a story about a one-eyed king who ruled in the land of blind people. But he soon felt that he could not really trust them because they never really see him. They would not know if an impostor takes his place. He had been with them for so long, he could not even remember his own face. The king searched the land to look for a one-eyed queen to remind him who he is. Bee and Evie are tending the garden when the man enters and leaves a strawberry for Bee. She is instantly joyful. Evie tells her that the man is not Luca. He is just doing the things they already told him about. But Bee is so eager to believe otherwise and tells Evie that she contrasts her heart. Bee and Luca are standing on top of a tree for guard duty. He starts touching her leg as she shoots an intruder. Back in the greenhouse, Evie catches the two of them having an intimate moment. When Luca sees her, Evie runs away visibly disappointed at B. The man walks around the garden. Her mother is teaching Daisy about anatomy as she cleans some meat. He finds Evie to confront her. She swiftly throws the shovel at him, but he is able to catch it. She warns him that his tricks won't work on her. B is just too eager to have Luca back, that's why she falls for it. The man tries to lure her as well, but she dismisses him, telling him not to mess with her sister's mind. After she left the garden, the man sits beside a patch and finds the wooden box buried there. He takes it out and inspects the things inside. He takes a pendant from a tied cloth, labeled Luca. It is getting dark out. Daisy struggles to carry the limbs of the recent trespasser. The man helps her bring it in and asks about their necklaces. Daisy tells him that their mother made it for them. They gather together for the ritual they do every time they eliminate a trespasser. When B arrives, she invites the man to join them. Everyone at the table looks at him in spite, but no one says anything. Their mother is about to start their prayer when Evie suddenly speaks up, saying that the man does not belong with them and does not have the right to join. B argues with her. The man took out the pendant from his pocket. B and Daisy immediately believe him, but Evie is strongly against it, saying that he might have stolen it. The man tells her that he has always kept it and that he just forgot. Her sisters argue with her, saying that she just wants them all to be miserable. Their mother stops them and says that Evie is just trying to protect their family. B accuses her that she did not protect their family, and it was her fault that Gabe turned that way. She says that instead of watching out for Gabe, she spied on her and Luca. B accuses her of being jealous. Evie leaves the greenhouse. Their mother reprimands B, but they proceed with the ritual. Evie did not show up as everyone are setting up for dinner. That night, she confides with her mother in her bedroom. Her mother tells her to let B believe what makes her happy. She assures Evie that she always has a plan. She is only waiting for a child before kicking the man out. The man is standing outside the room observing them. That night, B is having an intimate moment with the man on the top bunk. Gabe is lying in the bottom bunk disturbed. The man seems disturbed knowing that everyone else can hear the creaking noise of the bunk bed. Months pass, and Evie is washing clothes. B puts her underwear in Evie's basin. She notices that her sister had not had her period for some time, and suspects she is conceiving a child. Their mother tells B to be transparent with how she is feeling and to be careful. She tells her that she is carrying a child in her womb. B is joyful to hear it, but her mother tells her that there are only so many people that the sanctuary can handle. That means the man has to go. B cries in frustration and leaves the room screaming. The others hear her and Gabe gets triggered by her screaming. He runs outside without wearing his protective gear. Evie remembers it happening before when she caught Luca and B. She quickly wears her protective gear and follows him out. The man follows them out without wearing a protective suit. He carries Gabe back inside the house. Evie blames herself for letting him get out before. He goes out for guard duty still in frustration. The man follows her out and asks her what happened. She tells him that her mother wants to kick him out because the sanctuary will not be able to sustain them when she has the baby. The man comforts her and assures her that they will be able to get through it. Evie is sleeping in her bed when Gabe enters her room. He lay down beside her in heat. Evie wakes up when she feels him moving behind her and stops him. She helps him relieve himself with her hands instead. The next morning, the man confronts Gabe, telling him that he is not the man for Evie. This triggers him, making him throw lumber on the man, but instead, it hit the glass window of the glass house. Everyone hurriedly tries to seal the hole. That night, their mother tucks Gabe into his bed. She finds the man standing outside his room. He attacks her swiftly, choking her. He sets Gabe up, making it seem that he eliminated her by accident. As the girls set up their mother's funeral, the man remains in Gabe's room. He opens a window to let the toxic air in. He claims that he is setting Gabe free. He also confesses that he is immune to the toxin. B is left alone tending to their mother's body. She places things to remember her mother in their wooden box. She sees Lucas' things and suddenly remembers what happened to him. She signaled to a man who appeared in the proximity of their house while she was on guard duty. The man did not signal back with the flashlight, so she shot him. When she inspected the body, she found out that his flashlight was broken. And the man was Luca. She buried him in the forest and made herself forget about what happened. Evie knew what happened all along, but she chose to protect B. B tells her that they should forget about it so it will not be real. But Evie does not want to forget. B tries forcing her to go outside with her, but the man stops her. B goes out by himself, and the man tells Evie to live for herself. Daisy calls up to them and says that there is something wrong with Gabe. When Evie sees him, he is already gone. B comes back and forgets about the man. She also thinks that Daisy is her child. She takes her to play and Daisy looks at her bewildered. Evie is depressed knowing that she will be the only one left to remember. The man tells her that she does not have to be alone. She has him. They held a ritual for their mother. Evie becomes the new head of the family.